Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host, David Tear, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. Today, I'm up to song number 2881, which is You'll Accompany Me by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. This single was released in 1980. It was a top 40 single. I think it went to number 14. But it was also released on this album here called Against the Wind. And it's a good song. Not too much to say about it. It's basically a love song where he's declaring his love for this woman. He's saying, "Someday we're going to be together all the time. You'll accompany me." So it's a pretty song, but I want to talk about the history of Bob Seger. Bob Seger has had a very long and successful history. Here's Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, by the way. They were the band that recorded this song and most of his big hits. He was most of his career he was with this band, but he got started very early. And here's a picture of him. But he got started, he was born in Detroit, Michigan, 1945. He got his start in music in the early 60s. He was with a few bands that didn't really make it. The Decibels, I think they started in 61. Then he was with the Town Criers and Doug Brown and the Her Doug Brown and the can't read that. And then the Last Herd. And then finally I guess the first big group he was with was the Bob Seger System, and they had one big hit. This was in 1968. They were only together for a couple of years, but they had a song called "Ramblin' Gamblin' Man," which was, I believe, Bob Seger's first top 40 hit. Pretty powerful song. I do really like this song, and yeah, I think part of the reason I like Bob Seger a lot is I think he lived in Ann Arbor most of his life. That was where I was born, and it's also where I went to college. So I'm pretty partial to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And anyway, like I said, he made a big first with Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Their first big album was called Night Moves, and that album came out in 1976. It featured the songs "Night Moves," "Main Street," and "Rock and Roll Never Forgets." These guys had tons of hits. I'm gonna go through 'em, most of the big hits. And this was 76, and then their next big album came out in 78. That was called Stranger in Town. This one had Still the Same, Hollywood Nights, Old Time Rock and Roll. It's the name of my group. We Got Tonight and Feel Like a Number. And then in 1980, they had the album Against the Wind, which featured the horizontal bop. The song I featured today, You'll Accompany Me, also her strut, Against the Wind, the title track, and also Fire Lake, which I believe they feature the Eagles in the background. And then in 1982, they had the album called Like a Rock. This one had so had American Storm and the title song Like a Rock. And also Fortunate Son, they had a version of that, which was really originally recorded by Creedence Clearwater Revival. What else they have? Oh yeah, then the they had the theme song to this movie. It was a pretty bad movie, by the way. This was the sequel to Beverly Hills Cop 2. The first one was great. The second one I thought was pretty bad, but he did have the theme song to this movie called "Shakedown," which is a good song, and it actually was his only number one song, which is a big surprise considering all the huge hits he had. But anyway, what else did he have? After that, he didn't really have any big albums. He had a couple more. Fire Inside. This came out in 1991, I believe. Had the songs "The Real Love" and "The Fire Inside," and then I believe he had a recent solo album that's called. Um, we had one called "Face the Promise." Yeah, I think that was this one. This came out in 2006. So that's pretty much everything Bob Seger did in the way of music. But he was a very successful artist, and and I do like most of his songs, including this one, "You'll Accompany Me." So anyway, that's my profile on "You'll Accompany Me" by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.